How are you ding-dong diddly doing there, gamerinos? Hope you're having a flanderific day. Hey there, Slicks. We're back to where we should be? What does that mean? Please adjust the slider until the computer is barely visible. Continuing the Stanley Parable? Yeah. I mean, that's... I don't know, it's kind of what we do every night. Please adjust the slider until the dog and the cat are friends. Aww. Please adjust the slider until the number 5 becomes the number 9. There we go. Please adjust the slider until you stop adjusting the slider. Okay. Okay. Which of the 2 made-up words below is most appealing to you? Scrumtush or Occuboinkle? Scrumtush. Please don't adjust the slider. Aw, man, I really want to adjust the slider. Do you know what time it is right now? Yes, I do know what time it is. Is the time that is right now the correct time? Yes? What is time anyway? No. Is there anything about yourself that you haven't told me? Yeah. Help. Sure. Will you come back to visit me? Yeah, I'll come back to visit you. You're not going to tell me what time it is? Or you're not going to have me put in the time? Okay. Begin the game. The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
Anywhere they went together.
The Stanley Parable 2, alrighty?
Fine with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got all the endings from the first game.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
We did the bucket, the what is a bucket ending. We unplugged we did the I'm Dunny with the funny ending. We did the bucket obsession ending. I don't think we've done the crushy bucket.
The meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him.
Or wait a minute.
That the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
I think we did do that ending.
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Yeah, no, I think that was the adventure line. We did the adventure line. The broom closet? We have not done the broom closet ending yet. What is going on here? How we can find them? Okay. Oh, yeah, the Stanley figurines. There will be a reward for finding them all. There's not gonna be a reward. The Adventureline song is so loud. It's amazing. I love the Adventureline song. Stairs, something to do. Stairs, somewhere blue and red. I think I know where all of these are. A private but smelly place for an important person. That's probably the bathroom. Nearby a fireplace. That's the only one that's like... I'm sad I missed you playing it. Yeah, I got a decent amount of... The last episode was hilarious. Weird. I mean, you can always go and watch the YouTube video of it. Oh, I think that's up. I think that's up right now, actually. Can I go into the broom closet?
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket.
No!
You can feel that, can't you?
No!
The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket.
My bucket!
I feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here.
Stay away
it's
from my
supposed to go with
bucket.
the other cleaning supplies.
No.
Not for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't
I won't.
hand over the bucket.
I'm not.
I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend.
That's right.
You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons. But even this is worse than I had imagined.
I am insulted.
Now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends.
What?
That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient. That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner. Well, I never.
Same.
Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments.
Oh, I will.
Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point.
Oh, I will.
Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Oh, yeah. So you know what? There was a time that the bucket eater wanted to eat the bucket, and I was like, yo, you can't eat the bucket because that's my friend.
I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all.
Okay.
Here we go.
Bam!
There.
Love it.
Now it's settled. No more debate.
Take
no
that.
No more discussion.
Take that.
Take a hike, broom closet.
Yeah,
fuck
you, broom
philosophical
closet.
Diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
That's my bucket. I love the bucket. My bucket. You bastard.
Right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see,
nice.
I feel that
It's
it
a
works
bucket.
because the sticker is also a bucket.
That's amazing.
That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, it's a bucket.
It's a bucket.
There is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
I feel like we could have used this sticker in the last episode to tell us what is and is not a bucket, because apparently the whole game is a bucket.
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us a silent
take
treatment.
that.
And to be honest, I'm sick of the
Look at me.
pettiness
Look at
on
me with the
display.
bucket.
You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
I love that the narrator's on our side. Yeah, take that, broom closet. Look at me and my bucket. And we love each other, and we're gonna leave, and you're gonna be alone without a bucket. Yeah, that ending was hilarious.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yeah, suck it, broom closet. Hello there.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs?
Okay.
What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that.
Stanlerines, all right.
Stanlerine under your belt.
Nice. Oh, and by the way, Slicks, when you made your joke earlier, you forgot to say that you're dunny with the funny. How was I supposed to know that it was a joke? Without you saying, I'm dunny with the funny.
He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. "Am I crazy?" he asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all.
Thanks,
That's
bucket.
strange,
Wow.
Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom
Right.
for me in difficult times such as these. He
Exactly.
held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort.
What?
And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket.
What?
It's just a normal, everyday
Oh
bucket.
my, that
Someone
damn
else's
broom
bucket, perhaps.
closet.
How did I end up with someone else's bucket?
Oh,
This is
no.
all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without
no
the
bucket,
psychologically
no
grounding
bucket.
presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very...
Oh no. Oh no. I don't have a bucket. I don't have a bucket.
Oh, gracious.
Help.
He
Help.
exclaimed. Without
Help.
my bucket, I've gone truly mad.
Help.
Where is it? I
Help.
must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it calling to him. Stanley!
Bucket.
Stanley,
I'm
it's
coming.
me, the
I'm coming.
But he
I'm
tried.
coming.
He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after
oh
the
no,
next.
these aren't my
None of
bucket.
them were his.
Where's
None
my
of them
bucket?
were his special bucket.
Where? I'm coming. Where are
He
you?
had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his
He's
tracks.
coming.
He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It
Oh.
was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
That. How did the bucket get up in there?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security,
Lucky.
and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket.
I know.
Of course, he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought.
What a
She
nightmare.
hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she
Good for
backflipped
you,
all the way
Barry.
to work.
Damn, good for you, Mariella. Holy shit. That was horrifying. Could you even imagine going through life for like
All of his
1
coworkers
second
were
without
gone.
your bucket?
What could it mean? Stanley
Couldn't
decided to
be
go to the
me.
meeting. A good bucket, a strong bucket.
Oh, and it's
a
still got the
humble
stickers,
bucket,
too.
a
That's
committed
awesome.
bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
And class.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
The narrator must be so thrilled I actually entered the door on my left. Good thing I've got the Revenge of the Sith popcorn bucket. Nice.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Where's the green and the red door again?
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines. And now
You don't
I'm
like
torn between
Stanlerines?
Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by one?
I like
Let me sit on
Stanlerines
it.
better.
I'm sure it will come to me.
Yeah, Stanlerines is definitely better. Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast. Money! It's so freaking sweet looking. The doors are when you hop off the moving platform. I thought that took me to the is it a bucket?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned.
Does this do anything now? Now that I got the bucket? That's where the red and the blue doors are, though. But I don't think I could get to the red or blue door because he was like, there's no buckets beyond this point. You're not trying to suggest I should go there without the bucket, are you? Because that would be just wild. No, you should keep the bucket. Good, 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 good. I would go crazy without the bucket. You okay? No, okay, it still doesn't do anything. Wait, what? What? Huh? What in the hell? There's this crazy ending where you enter the boss's office but walk backwards and the door closes. So you lock the narrator in there. Okay. I'll have to try that. Maybe if I go ahead and, like, try exiting the elevator now, maybe it'll, like, unlock these doors for me? Wait, what? How do I get out? How do I get out of here? I'm just good and locked in. What the fuck? Let me look this up. Is this supposed to happen? I guess there's not. Maybe I just have to restart.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship
I feel
that
better.
stands the test of time.
Which one are you doing first, with or without the bucket? I guess, yeah, with, but...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Yeah, sure, I guess we'll do that one. We'll do that ending, why not?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned.
Okay. I guess I did it. Is that it? Does it do anything else? Go back to your desk. Okay. I definitely didn't do this ending before. I didn't even know this was an ending. I thought I had looked up all the endings, so I don't know how I was unaware of this one. Oh, what the fuck? You are now leaving. Oh, there's an elevator. Yeah, thanks for letting me know about this, Slicks. I wonder if there's any other ones that I didn't get. Because I guess ChatGPT really cannot get all of the answers for me. I don't understand how it's possible. This should be absolutely something that ChatGPT should be able to do. Like, tell me how many endings there are and how to get them. Okay, we're just going upstairs. Yeah, I know, I guess not. Escape pod launch bay, okay. I cannot see shit. Oh. There we go. Am I just gonna put the bucket in there? Yes. Salute you, bucket. What the fuck? It's okay, bucket. I love you. I need to make sure you escape. I know, I'm literally in tears.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Yeah, that is true. Wait, there is no bucket. What the fuck? Where did the bucket go?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
It just straight up wasn't there. It's weird. I don't like it. Did you steal it, broom closet? Did you steal it from me?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here. So
yeah, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. We used to be such good friends, me and the broom closet.
To his boss's office.
But ever since he went out and tried stealing my bucket from me, just makes me so mad. Makes me madder than a leftist seeing Trump as the Pope.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned.
In the pooper. Okay, let's see what this looks like just by myself. No bucket. No bucket. I actually do a pretty mean fake cry, but I don't feel like doing it right now. Used to make all my coworkers laugh when I did it. Okay, I can't go that far. But I can do like a where it sounds like I'm crying. Something like that. But like I said again, I don't feel like doing it. So dark, I can't see my eyes. There we go. Time to escape. Okay. What? That was it? That was a fucking lame ending.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
No, literally, like, that was fucking lame. I thought it was gonna, like, do something. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab the bucket.
And try not to lose this one too, you dolt.
I had to let the bucket escape, brother. Had to let the bucket escape.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I don't know why I want to say I should go left there for some reason every time.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Oh.
Was the bucket guiding
That's
him?
new.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Oh,
You're
what?
getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anlarines. Very soon, you'll collect the first one. And then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then.
We
different
will.
in the sense that we used to have none of them. And now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler Anlarines. None of us can.
Figler and Lorraines. Oh no. Yeah, it's gonna be a real moment there. It's gonna be pretty special.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right.
Thank you,
The bucket
Bucket.
is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
I feel so much better with the bucket.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
That's probably not true, Bucket.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure he's just exaggerating. I've got the bucket. What could possibly go wrong?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket.
That's a
but
lie.
what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket
No, I
everywhere.
did not.
Farewell,
Lies.
Stanley.
Lies.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
No, nothing. Okay.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest.
It's true.
It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Wait. Where is the bucket? Why do I not have the bucket anymore? Where the hell is the bucket? Bucket! The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within within a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated knowledge. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the real world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live where you were, in ignorance and darkness? No, I want my bucket. Where the fuck is the bucket? Yo. Bucket.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
25 buckets. This photograph of 25 buckets is the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at one time. Yep, that's definitely 25 there. Yep. And I don't blame him. Like, I would probably double over if I saw that many buckets. Is this the Vitruvian bucket? A bucket with 2 handles? What? The bucket is depicted as having 2 handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. I mean, it's pretty serious. Again, I don't know how I would react to a bucket with 2 handles on it. Bucket, can I carry this bucket? Inferno bucket, a replica of the Inferno bucket, which in medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet, in spite of it all, the simple fact remains, no one can control a bucket. The stress bucket, an analogy. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance, vulnerability, size and strength of the bucket, coping strategies, holes, rest and relaxation, do something you enjoy, rest and relaxation, stress, the level of water in the bucket, the stress bucket, presented without commentary, truly awe-inspiring and breathtaking, as all buckets are. Whoa. It's a cave bucket. Cave drawings. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in the drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasure. Wow. I'm so glad we're worthy of the bucket.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Amen. The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However, clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitability is for our own good. I've got it. Bucket.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
All hail the bucket. I was gonna say, do I physically have to restart the game?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
I know. Having this bucket makes me want to be a better man, too.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I mean, who wouldn't want to be a better man with the bucket in their hand? So the only one left is somewhere both red and blue. So I guess we're going to have to figure out how the fuck to get to that.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos.
So true.
It would be with him, always. The bucket would. And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the pin number for the keypad was 2845.
If I just do nothing, actually, is he going to be like, he was too busy with the bucket and didn't actually do anything?
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
I'm just enjoying the bucket, man.
2845. Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all
No, okay,
itself,
so that was the
and
exact
Stanley got
same.
the hell along with the story. Well, what would he do?
That's funny. Already heard it, but it's still funny.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears.
Oh, don't
as
cry,
Stanley
bucket.
cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Now look at me, I'm reassuring the bucket. What a sad situation we're in.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well?
No.
Had the bucket been told to
Impossible.
do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world.
It's
At
okay,
this
bucket.
point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
That's right.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls. Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself? How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen.
Okay.
Birds.
Silly birds.
Silly birds. The control buttons became active again.
Flamingos.
Stanley flipped through one
Penguins.
video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions.
Yes, of
Had the
course.
bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Yeah, silly birds. Okay. I was not expecting that, I gotta say.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh, I don't think we're going to be able to do the heaven ending.
Not everyone is so
with
lucky
the bucket.
to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
I know. Look at this bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I guess we got to get the good ending with the bucket. And
Coming to a staircase, Stanley
the
and the
last
bucket walked
figurine?
upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
of course, the bucket just knows everything, obviously.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
It's gonna be okay, bucket.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in
This game is
Stanley's
amazing.
mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At
I
this
love you,
point,
bucket.
He could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live. Once
Yeah,
they
what are
stepped
me and the
through this
bucket gonna
massive
do
door.
now?
The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support.
What?
What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
What?
Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket.
My bucket!
Not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
I thought this was supposed to be the good ending. Is this going to be different now? Because I know we can't go back in. No, okay, alright, whatever. I thought that we were going to get something special because...
All of his co-workers were
you know,
gone. What could
we
it
had
mean?
the bucket.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm going to try to get this red-green thing with a red-blue
Stanley
thing.
came to a set of two open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Without
and
the
Stanley
bucket?
knew it perfectly well.
Because I
Perhaps he wanted to
don't think
stop
we
by
can do
the
it with the
employee
bucket.
lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Got him.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look,
Oh, we
Stanley,
haven't done
I
the
think perhaps we've
suicide
gotten
ending
off
with
on
the
wrong
with the
foot
bucket.
here. I'm not
We
your
have to do
enemy,
that.
really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, and there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly.
Stiggly Wiggly.
This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it.
That's right.
Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Okay. Yep. We did it. And there's no reward. How amazing. Now we gotta go do the suicide ending with the bucket.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life?
Yes,
Didn't
it
fill you
was.
to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love
Okay.
nothing more than to revisit the figurines just one more time.
Okay, alright. But we're different people now. We've got all of the figurines. We can't go back to a time before we didn't have the figurines. Remember that.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Okay, 7. This
And
game.
here was a second Stan Loreen. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest.
Yep.
Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Aw, thank you.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
I think it was this one.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, under the stairs. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm
Yep.
glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I
Oh,
shouldn't
yeah,
be
of
surprised.
course.
After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything. Let's see, what came next?
Oh, it was amazing. What?
Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
Okay. This game, man. This is like genuinely the funniest game, like ever.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was behind the boss's office. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Thank you, I will. Is this real 2008, like YouTube? Oh my, this is amazing. Thanks for watching. Oh, so funny.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Oh, agreed. It was fantastic.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind,
12
perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who
Probably.
can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Really. If you think about it.
And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone.
Okay. I'm glad we did it.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there
Okay.
some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how
Okay.
that feels.
Oh, it's probably gonna be really special here.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
Alright, let's do it again.
And
Look it,
here's where I
I'll
made
do it
that video.
again.
Don't you
Yuck.
remember the video we watched?
Yeah, I do. I do remember.
Yes, I love that video.
Amazing. 20 out of 10 video.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad
definitely.
we resisted the temptation. Next one. This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a
Wait.
wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it?
Oh
Keep
yeah, it was
going.
the second. I was gonna say, I thought this was our first, but no, the first one we got at the,
This is it.
Here.
The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
there was the jump circle. Remember the jump circle?
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
I wish I could jump.
Oh, yes, the two doors.
Gotta
Who could have
love the
forgotten
two
that? A
doors.
classic memory, this one.
Oh, they both go the same way, okay.
And before everything else, there was your office.
Yep.
Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
Okay. Guess we're gonna find
Yes,
out.
I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore.
Wow.
But he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
And we're back, okay.
message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information
Kill
from
it!
the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The car...
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Very touching. Yeah, and on that note, I